Hey fellow travelers, today we're going to talk about, is it less magical to go to the most magical place on earth nowadays, say compared to about 4 years ago? And I'm going to submit to you, yes, it is less magical. We have always loved going to Disney for Disney cruises, and we always fly to Orlando and then stay at the DisneyWorld resorts. And when the kids were smaller, we used to take them to the parks, but we've kind of quit doing the parks because I'm not a huge fan of crowds and lines. But I do like going to the resort and then getting out to the cruise line. However, Disney, if you're listening, we need to talk. The Magical Express, which we used to love, which was included in the cost of your resort stay. You would book a resort, and if you wanted ground transport, you just clicked yes, and your luggage was handled from your departure airport, checked all the way through, and arrived magically in your resort room. That is no longer the case. And so we're going to talk about how we got ourselves plus a group of 7 of us on our most recent cruise in February of 2024. We went 6 adults and an 18-month-old child from the west coast of the US out to the Disney World resorts. And then we spent 2 nights there and then went out to the cruise line. But we're going to talk about how we navigated getting ourselves from the airport, because now it's up to you to find your way from the airport to the resorts, which is way less magical when you've traveled across the country or sometimes across the world. We're going to talk about how we got there, and we're going to talk about what it cost. So let's check it out. At the time of this video, I believe if you look, there are probably somewhere between 6 and 10 ways to find your way from the Orlando airport out to the Disney World resorts. We went with MIRS Connect, which is basically the same buses that they used to use for what used to be the Disney Magical Expresses. They've just taken off the Disney stickers, and you have to take yourself to a separate website and book yourself tickets on MIRS Connect's website, which I will link in the description down below. You go on, you give them your flight information, your travel party, and you pay, I believe, $16 an adult and like $12 or $13 per child, and 2 and under ride for free. And then you print out that ticket and you take it with you, and then you have a ticket to get on the bus. So that ended up costing us about $115 for the 7 of us to go one way from the airport out. I know if you take an Uber for 4 people, you could get it maybe for $40, but is all your luggage going to fit in an Uber? We don't know. If you get a van, like an Uber SUV that will carry 6 people and include a car seat and probably room for the luggage you're going to take to Disney World or on a cruise, you'd be paying up in the $150 to $160 one way. I know there are some other options. There used to be the idea floated of a train that was going to go part of the Florida, I think it's called Brightline, that was going to go from the airport out to Disney Springs, which would dump you off with all your luggage at Disney Springs, and then you would have to get on a bus and disperse yourself to the various resorts. But I have heard that that has since been canceled, and I don't think that's an option anymore. So there maybe won't be a train, but it's much less magical this way. And also getting out to the cruise line from your resort. If you are taking a Disney cruise from a Disney World resort, the Disney Cruise Line will send you luggage tags, which you will put on your big luggage the night before in your Disney World resort. And the next morning on your embarkation day, the cruise line will send someone to sneak into your room at about 6 a.m. and slip those tagged bags out and check them through to your stateroom on the ship. So plan to take a day bag. There's a whole other video I can make about that, but you need a day bag for embarkation day because your luggage will go on ahead, and then you will not see your big bags at your stateroom until sometimes almost dinner time on the ship. So that is convenient. However, the other thing that is not included anymore, again, Disney, why? We need to talk about this. The prices are on you now. You're paying for this transportation. They have taken it out of the once inclusive price that you were paying for the cruise or the resort. However, the resort prices and the cruise line prices haven't gone down. That's a big beef that we had on this cruise. We came from Orlando out to Port Canaveral, and we didn't realize this until the last minute because it has always been included in the cruise, ground transport. The cruise line the bus is there on the morning, they pick you up, you just make sure they know that you're there, and you go, and it's all included, and your luggage is handled. What happens now is I had to call Disney Cruise Line and ask them, how do we get ground transport arranged for this cruise to get from the resort? And it was kind of the same process, except the girl was like, okay, I've gone ahead and added this price to your cruise package. And I was like, this price of what? It's used to, and she's like, we paid for the 6 of us and the 18-month-old grandson, we paid just a little bit more than $906 to get us from the resort to Port Canaveral on a Disney bus, cruise line bus, and then from the cruise line when we got off the ship back to the airport. $906. So with the $906 we paid for that, plus the $115 or so for the one-way trip to the resort, that was almost $1,000 difference in our budget that I was not aware that I needed to be budgeting for until fairly close to our trip, and also used to be included. So Disney trips are not cheap in general, but to not include, and then on top of all of that, let me rant for a minute. On top of all of this, you're also now juggling all of your bags. So what used to be magical is now not. Used to get to your home airport, drop off your luggage, and it's checked all the way through to your resort room at Disney World. Now, when you get to Orlando Airport, you have to get off, take the shuttle across from the 2 terminals over to, I think it's Terminal B, go down a level, get your luggage, unless you travel carry-on, which we just did, and you can see the link to that video right here. If you're not going carry-on, you need to go collect your luggage, then go down another level with all your luggage and go down, look for the very long haul, follow the MIRS Connect and ground transport and rental cars. You'll walk past the rental cars down a very long hallway that looks like it's a mile long. All the way down at the end, you will see a podium or 2 that are check-in for the MIRS Connect buses, and then you show them your ticket. You have all your luggage, and they show you which line to get in and which bus to wait for to go out to your particular resort. And then you get your luggage loaded on the bus. And then when you get to the resort on the non-magical express, which it used to be fun for the kids too. For the bus, it was Disney, and they had little screens with Disney, trivia playing and Disney little cartoons and things for the kids to watch. And now it's just a bus. So a 45-minute bus ride. When you get to the resort, you then drag your luggage off the bus for all of you, and then also tote it all the way through your resort to navigate to your room. So they've put it all on us now to deal with all of our luggage. I'm sure you could probably get a bellhop cart at the resort and push your luggage, or you might be able to find someone that you could pay to do that and get your luggage to your room. But in general, they've taken away all of the part of it that was so magical, because once you let go of your luggage at your home airport, get on the plane, put on your seatbelt, you're on vacation. Not so much anymore. So if you have found a hack for this, or a workaround, or a cheaper way to get from the MCO Orlando Airport out to the Disney World resorts, I would love to hear about it in the comments. But and we had a great trip. It was just perfect. It was wonderful. We all had a terrific time. But this little glitch in the navigating of the transportation and the luggage, actually, we don't go to the parks anymore. So at this point, we're considering our next cruise just flying to Fort Lauderdale, where we have family, stay with my mom, and just head out to the Fort Lauderdale port and cruise from there, because the whole navigating the Orlando thing has sort of become not worth it anymore. I'm sorry, Disney. I told you we needed to talk. Anyway, share with us in the comments if you run into this and how you've worked around it, or if you've just given up altogether. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.